Howdy, howdy. It's Jordan here, or uh, George or Bings, if you know me by that. I'm doing something a little slightly different. I decided to kind of talk a little bit and go through what I'm setting up for my D&D campaign. Um, Nothing too special. It's mostly just gonna be me rambling and my thoughts about it and things I've learned while DMing. Kind of like, I guess, my video diary, if I'm doing that whole thing again. But yeah. But there's not really anything I want to talk about in particular. I just kind of want to one of those things where I could talk out loud and hear it out loud and be like, "Huh, that doesn't sound too right," or maybe that I should do this instead, or maybe that's lining up differently. But yeah, I won't probably talk too specifically about plot points or anything like that because of my fiance knows this YouTube channel, and so does one of my other players, Assassin. So I don't want to be like, oh yeah, so this person shows up and kills everyone. Like, I don't want to do that, you know. So, yeah. It's mostly just gonna be me talking. It's gonna be like with only like 30 minutes such, and before a 2 hour video. I mean, I missed my D&D session I have today. Um, yeah, but yeah. Also, I am in my own other D&D campaign. I'm actually a player, so that's nice. I'm not DMing, and it's an interesting dichotomy being both a DM and a player at the same time. Most of the time, I'm only either one or the other, but having both at the same time is fun. Very time consuming, but very fun. And yeah, right now in the arc I'm currently going through in my D&D campaign, we finished our first like kind of introductory arc and such, where I had the characters go through, my players go through, and kind of get the first exposure and experience with both D&D in general and the story, because two of the three people I'm playing with, my fiance, my boy Assassin, and my other friend Alex, are the three players in my campaign. Both my fiance and Alex both haven't played D&D before prior to being in this campaign, so that's fun. Alex is getting really into it in general. He started watching stuff like Critical Role and things like that. My gal, she's very much just showing exposes herself to D&D whenever we're playing, so she's up much more on the slow learning curve, but it's because, she is also doing her own thing. She has her own life. She doesn't have to like, hey, let me just like do everything for me just so we can get a good D&D game or anything like that. But yeah, so fun times. The first arc in summary is basically cult activity is running rampant now. Well, that was a shitty summary, but long story short, they work for this mountaineering patrol force that's kind of like the quote unquote police force or like reliquatory force out in the wilderness outside the main city, which I haven't revealed yet, so I won't talk about it, name it or anything like that. But basically, they deal with everything from that's not within the city limits and everything from simple like not collision, but simple stuff like farmers having issues with the cattle and like property issues all the way to like banditry and stuff like that. And the most recent arc, on the beginning of the campaign, I haven't say arc, but the first arc, if you want to say it like that, was basically the players going out and investigating some like loose reports and not anything big about a village, or I guess town underneath a mountain. That's kind of a mining company, kind of a mining town that has run into some issues. It was not initially, it wasn't seemed to be that much of a big an issue. If anything, they wanted to like just show that the patrol force was still around and like put on a nice smile and be like, hey, we're here to serve you, and that kind of thing, kind of a fluff piece for like being a policeman essentially. But when they got there, they realized shit was not good. A cult calls the Paragons a parody. I did reveal that, so that's not really a spoiler or anything. Unless they weren't paying attention, they're like, oh, yeah. So, cult like that, basically, fucking, I don't know, time warp the entire city and mountain, so they are kind of separate from time itself. So whatever time passed there was very different from the time outside the mountain. When the team got there and all the adventures they went through there, it was like 2 weeks for them. Well, like not 2 weeks, probably like a week. But in reality, only 2 hours had passed from since they entered the mountain. I'm not gonna give you a whole synopsis or anything about like every part of the story, but that happened. Cool activity happened. They kind of enslaved the town and kind of used the town members and kind of transformed them into monsters. monsters that they faced while in the mountain and monsters that they are going to face outside of the mountain. And that was everything from like man bat to like oozes to more like weeping angels and that kind of stuff. Kind of doing some cult ritual stuff that transformed them. So fun times, fun things. And yeah, so this new arc, I guess I could say now, of the campaign is going to be the team kind of investigating a new city, a new town that's closely adjacent to the mountains in terms of like distance, but not like too close. It's not like right outside it or anything. Oh god, that peaked at the audio. That was insane. But yeah, and right here, the D&D map I have right here is fucking Raccoon City Police Department from Resident Evil 2. I just told him like, hey, just ignore like the disheveled look because just the layout is what's important, not really what's in it and how it looks. But essentially, over here, these are 2 of my 3 PCs. Here's the other one. And by the way, everything, they did use a little bit of AI art and some of the stuff just to get a general view of it. I know I'm not a big fan of AI art. I kind of dabble in a little bit, but then I realized that shit just kind of sucks. So I just decided to kind of move away from it and kind of use other people's like actual creators stuff like maps or characters. I will say I'm not gonna lie, some of the stuff I just straight up copy and pasted over. I'm not getting monetized for this video, so I'm not benefiting directly. I'm just using it for the story and the campaign. If somehow in some way in the future like this video blows up or any subsequent stuff, I will probably just end up buying everything because I would feel bad, you know. But I'm not directly using this. Like I'm not gonna like post the actual play of the fucking campaign or anything. But in that case, I'll feel like that. But yes, I just straight up copy and paste like battle maps because it just makes my life easier, and I don't have time to create my own. And to be honest, I don't have enough money to spend it all whenever I just find one battle map that works. Okay, sue me, please don't. Actually, I'm very poor and school debt, you know, student loan debt. So please don't do that. I apologize. I'll pay for it if someone yells at me. But besides that, you know, but yeah. Just going through it, these are the 3 characters. This is Fala. This is the character that Alex plays. This is Grumpus. This is the character my fiance plays. And this is Barrett. This is the character that Assassin plays. Basically, Fala was a poor fucking inner city kid who has very smart type of thing. Created his own little robot. He's an artificer. For this first part of the campaign, I decided that since it was the first time as a team and a lot of them as players, that after the initial little beginning arc, I let them respect the characters a little bit because they didn't know exactly what they were getting into with D&D and how they wanted it. So the first like 10 sessions, he was just an artificer, but I let them do that. So Fala, aka Alex, this fellow, decided to move to wizard. So he's like 3 levels in artificer and 3 levels of wizard. And some of you might hear that and be like, holy shit, they're already like level 6? And I was like, yes, because I'm going to throw a lot of stuff at them. So it's going to be fun. And just because like D&D is weird because that early play is fun, but also kind of tedious because it's like I can't really do too much because I have like 3 spell slots and all the spells are kind of dog ass. And it's like high level play kind of sucks because there's like no standard creature that I could throw at anyone because they're just demigods and you're just walking around. So that kind of 6 to 10 gameplay realm of D&D is really like supreme, I think. Even like level 1 through 5 is pretty good, but 6 through 10 I find the most enjoyable. But that's just me. That's a side tangent, but yeah. So Fala, he decided to go 3 levels in wizard, 3 levels of artificer. We actually find a good way to kind of do it in within the campaign and how he actually decided to do that. If anything, he kind of did more of a... Because wizard requires studying and such, so maybe it should be more like warlock. Even though it's not too much of like a patron type of thing. But I'll let him do 3 levels. Because maybe actually like sorcerer type of thing rather than wizard. Because the way he did it, he basically just kind of consumed a magical item and now he has magic powers. Kind of a weird thing, but maybe it should be more along like a sorcerer type of beat rather than a wizard. But then I already agreed to a wizard. I didn't really think about it at the time. I was like, yeah, you could go speak into wizard. But let's say he's fucking smart. He does a lot of shit. He built fucking Arrow, his little robot. So I would just say he's able to read enough books to get the idea of being a fucking wizard. And he's also spending time with one of the NPCs called Belladonna. Let me just pull her out in this little thing. Yes, I just, like I said, I copy and paste everything because, once again, I'm not monetizing this. I'm not using the game for anyone's benefit. This is just for the sake of storytelling. And if anything happens, once again, I'll more than credit them, or I'll use something else or private this video or whatever. Belladonna, here she is. Belladonna, an NPC that I introduced to them like 3/4 of the way of the first part of the campaign, which, first story of the campaign. Kind of a, I guess, what was the word? Like ranger, druid type of character that kind of lives in a separate dimension from the dimension they're in, kind of a separate plane of existence type of thing. They kind of stumble upon them, they talk, they become pretty good friends. Pretty good friends with all of them, especially Fala, because Fala simply is just very very persistent and annoying with his pursuit of, I guess, quote unquote knowledge or something like that. So she's could be the way to teach him that a lot about wizardry and stuff. So there's that. That's fun. But yeah, that's just a little side tangent. But yeah, so Fala, very smart kid who grew up very poor in the kind of rough part of the city. Won't get fully backstory, but yeah, there we go. He's very smart and kind of has that. Was it? Oh my god, which superhero character kind of has a story like that? I imagine a whole bunch, but yeah. Grumpus. Grumpus is a pretty fun character. He was a shelter child growing up, coming from a very rich, very like high. What's the term? A very rich family, kind of high society. There you go, high society. And he's always pampered his entire life. And his father was kind of getting tired of that, so he kind of paid off the Mountaineer Patrol Force, like, hey, I'll give you like a donation, quote unquote. You just have to hire my son so he gets out of the house. Luckily, by the way, my fiance plays it. He's not really a dick. He's more of just of a very naive character, very much of that, like, I guess Don Quixote type of thing, where like it's all chivalry and such, but he's very much getting a very large reality dose of the real world. So that's fun. And then Barrett is something similar with a family that's been mostly attached to the Mountain Patrol Force. His father's fathers did, his fathers did it, kind of thing. It's just like kind of a lineage that's been in here. He originally was like in the Hosku Rescue Team, but that got disbanded due to like budget cuts outside because of from the main city. Because it's decided that the Mountain Patrol Force wasn't as important as they thought, so they were like, oh, we really don't need to spend extra money on like having basically a SWAT team if they're mostly just dealing with everyday bandits and like land disputes and stuff like that. So they kind of disbanded that. So he kind of just had to shove him somewhere, so they shoved him with this special group, quote unquote special. It's kind of just like the rejects, and or like they don't know where else place to go. It's a detective group that's kind of mostly just to be like the kissing babies and like saving cats from trees type of group that's not supposed to do too much and such like that. So that's fun. How they all ended up here is a thing. Fowler probably has the most backstory when it comes to it. Like the way he ended up here was that the government found out about his robot, and is compared to all the rest of the technology is extremely advanced. They kind of want to use it, but then Fowler threatened to kind of destroy it, and they kind of need Fowler to be alive to recreate it. So it's like, okay, we'll kind of keep you in like protective custody and kind of like make you kind of work for us and kind of learn what the robot does via the patrol force and kind of put them in this group here. So that happened. So yeah, they got bamboozled the first like adventure, and now that's there. Mostly for me, the first adventure was trying to figure out how they played, especially my fiance and Alex, because they once again, I played D&D before, so I want to see how they cooperated as a team, what if they kind of enjoyed more combat, more role play, kind of 50-50, one way or the other, you know. And mostly from my experience, it was very much 60-40 role play combat type of thing. Is kind of a good area to lay around. I was throwing a lot of monsters at them, not having too much role play, but I think the most parts they really enjoyed were the role play, because they like making the interactions between each other within the world and stuff like that. So I think for this next arc, it's mostly going to be more roleplay, more detective work, rather than the fighting aspect and having more fights. be the build up or like surprise things that kind of happen very quick, very fast for like either at the middle or very end of a session. And might not even happen every session. It might be like, hey, a whole session of just like talking with the people, trying to get information, doing detective work and stuff like that, and not really doing combat, but just trying to come to a conclusion what's happening. So yeah, so there's a whole large rundown that was just like 12 minutes of me yapping about just the first part of this campaign. Getting to this, I think it's going to be fun. What I have in store for them is to have to go explore another village and mountain that's been affected by the cult activities. Not mountain, but just another village close to the mountain that's been affected by the cult activities, and see how they interact with that. Once again, I'm not going to hit major plot points because they can watch this, but I'm just going to explain how I'm feeling and what I'm kind of going through. And as I do more and more of it, I realize like, because I've been mostly a forever DM, but recently I had the opportunity to be like a separate campaign, like I said. So I actually got to be a player, which is pretty fun. So I don't always have to be a DM. I've been doing that since college, and I actually got to play as character in college as well. So that was fun. But the more and more I expose myself to D&D, the more and more I want to write, and the more I want to kind of make a story and world and like everything that surrounds it and everything that kind of goes into it. Like at the very beginning, I was doing minimal prep, like, oh, they probably do this, this, and that. And that's probably like, have a couple, like just a 3 list things that have like, they'll talk here, they'll probably fight these guys, and then that's it. And then like, they do a little more talking, that's it. Nothing too exciting or too important, but the more I'm into it, I'm like, oh, the kind of scenes they'll be in, the kind of environment, how I'll explain it, and kind of getting more and more enthralled with the world and getting more and more in depth, and me just being like, I wonder how this would work. I wonder how this would work. Or like, let me try having more ambiguous characters and not being like, evil guy number 1, evil guy number 2. Or is it just like, hey, this shady guy that has possibly dubious, but understanding reasons for what he's doing. Kind of do something like that. Because very much it was the first arc was like, these are the bad guys, save the town type of thing. Very much laid out everything, but in this new arc, I kind of want to let them have a more opportunity for more interesting roleplay, more kind of expansive, more in depth, and very more deep dialogue. More deep dialogue. Jesus, I know how to speak. I have a college degree. It was physics though, so I don't talk too well, but I can do math sometimes. But no. More intensive and more thorough dialogue with just like people that like main characters, like not the shopkeeper, like individuals, like the mayor of the town, or something like this or something like that. Just having more stuff for them to do. And as I was going through the first part of the campaign, the more I kind of prepped, and the more I was like, oh, I'll do this and I'll do this, and I'll have these areas available for them. And then, well, they could play optional, they could play miss it. Or they can get there late, so they just miss like a big scene that happened. The more I did that, the more I realized that the less we got through. Probably because it was more like, hey, I have more to talk about. And with this NPC, it's not going to be like, help me. And that's it. It's going to be like, help me this because A, B, C, Y. Or like, hey, I have information. Instead of just like spouting that to them, they're like kind of very struggling or not so forthcoming with it or something. When I put more thought into it, I'm like, oh, I can create more flavorful experiences and more intensive situations, so they kind of have to spend more time, and more time there's more time in the session. So while I might prep more, I might end up getting through less, which is kind of a fun dichotomy. And if that happens, for the next session, I already have a lot that's still prepped, so I can just build onto it, and just ultimately create just a more dense experience and more compacted one, except for one that's very like, I don't know, but this enemy over here, so you should go fight him. Whoo! Which is like, for some people that could be fine. I'm pretty sure there's a lot like TTRPG players that like, just want to do a dungeon crawl. Just like, hey, just give me something to fight, and I'll like the action economy and figuring stuff like that. But definitely for this group, they are much more role play and like wanting a reason and kind of a reason to be in the world and reason to like go places or fight something or do something. They're very much wanting that type of experience. And so as I'm writing and going through it more, I'm trying to deliver more in that. I'm not sure if this all sounds pretentious, but I'm having a fun time doing it. I am in no way like a great DM, but then again, I'm not fucking like Matt Mercer or like Brandon Lee Mulligan, you know, at the same time. So, not everyone can be, and that's not my goal to be like, oh, like, can give them some like earth shattering reveals or stuff like that. I'm just trying to give them a fun time where they can, I guess, just have their own story they can carve out to feel like a hero or like feel like they're making some meaningful impact on the world I'm trying to create. Which is ultimately, I feel like, the best goal to have. I'm not trying to live up to anything, but yeah. So, stuff like that. I've just been yapping and y'all just have been just staring at this. I am so sorry. I'll probably just have fucking like rematch gameplay going over here while I'm just yapping and not moving here. See, side little note on my group channel that I'm part of Alex and Assassin. They started this channel. I believe it's Clear Trash. Is it TV or something like that? Something like that. But they invited me to post videos there, and I posted stuff like Currently Ready or Not and Nine Souls videos. That's just me, like kind of edit videos that actually kind of fun to look at and play and such like that. So yeah, I posted that over there. If you want to check it out, probably a link in the description. I'm not sure if anyone's ever going to check it out because my channel is very non-existent in terms of YouTube and literally reach. So, but I'm just having a fun time, and they actually get views over there. So you just hear me scream profanities and obscenities all around. So that's pretty fun. So if you want to see more like gameplay and stuff like that, and not just raw like footage of my Expedition 33 gameplay and actually me doing other things, that's that over there. Recommend it. And they have their own stuff being posted pretty soon. I think they have a rematch video or something. But that's besides that. I'm not trying to advertise anything else. But there we go. Just let us know. But yeah, so that's fun. I mean, yeah. So that's basically what I want to get out of this campaign, and what I'm trying to do, and how interesting it is because when DMing, when I'm doing this, initially I was just like, just have DM, have a fun time trying to tell a story, kind of just like very lackadaisical going into it, but. The more I make of this world, and the more I'm like, oh, what if I try this new idea? Or about this, I'm creating like D&D playlists while I'm at work, while working. I mean, like, very much like big jazz band heavy and being something like that. This is supposed to be like a 1940s-esque kind of like a feeling / technology based 1940s, 1950s, like America type of idea. So I'm trying to do something like that. So it's all kind of very retro, kind of a little bit like... not cyberpunk. What is it called? Steampunk. There you go. The other punk. I say I'm trying to do something like that. So that's when I say steampunk, it's something like that. It's like automatic playground for an artificer. So he's having a fun time. But yeah, another thing I learned is that just saying so that like it's always that classic fucking meme of the DMs giving the most minute detail that's not really all that important, but then the players like overblowing it. And let me see if I find it over here. Actually, when I was talking about it and like going through some of the things with it, I it was very much where is it is it this one? I'm doing Albert Rodeo, by the way. This is probably another AI image. I know it's not all that yeah, I know it sucks. I completely changed my opinion on it, but yeah, in the first part they kind of, before they stopped by the mountain, they ended up at the Mountaineer Patrol Force, kind of like an outpost, that area, and they were over here talking to this character Sapphire. She's kind of like one of the druids, main druids, kind of high figure within the political space within the Mounted Patrol Force, and she's in the library, and I just randomly said, oh, you're in a library with plenty of books that one could check out, and automatically, like, I want to check out a book, I want to look at everything, and I was like, oh my fucking god, and I wanted to cry so bad, because I had to be like, okay guys, I'm gonna be 100% real with you, you guys can look at the books, but I did not prep any books, so just be patient with me, I'll make up a random name right now, and then I'll write about that later, and then here we are, like multiple weeks later, like 3-4 months later, and I have to write about the books, so which is wonderful and great, and it's all sunshine and rainbows. But yeah, besides that, what else is happening with this campaign? But yeah, I just like the couple things I want to talk about, and it's kind of my ideas and stuff. I'm probably going to show off maps a little bit of places they'll end up within this first session. Like they're definitely gonna end up here in this riverboat section. This is from Balatro. Created called Balatro, not the game Balatro. Yeah, this is yeah. I'm gonna play poker right now, but no, this is from a Patreon of a D&D battle map creator. The name is Balatro. I'm pretty sure that's the name. I actually have the Patreon because it actually makes some good maps and I use them. So there's shout out to them. Pretty cool. Yeah, and basically the whole idea here was that when making the way to the village, it's kind of by the coast, so they're gonna not by the coast, but it's by the rivery coast area, and the fastest way to get there is instead of traveling like 3 days on through the mountainside and such, would be taking like the river route. It takes like basically a night to get there. And it's going to go here, kind of introduce them to the new music I got going on, to the new characters, have some new faces here that are going to be interesting, kind of like a little outpost for us to get on there and send out. And I think that's going to be fun. I think that's going to be pretty cool. I plan to have a little bit of like roleplay here with the ship captain, kind of warning them like, hey, some weird stuff's happening over here. Be careful. I'm not entirely sure. I've been hearing weird, spooky stories. Ooh. And kind of give them a little sneak peek of what they're going to see over there. But also a little side note, I am DM for me. I am not good with voices. I can be like, but like besides that, I can try to make like creepy voices, but I'm not really good with voices. So when I like DM, I tell them how it is, and I might go like a little bit higher pitch when talking with someone, a lower pitch. That's the most like voice modulation I'll do. I'm never gonna pull off a perfect like elderly woman. So it's mostly just like, like kind of more my tones. Like if it's kind of a snarky older guy, it's like, well, aren't you some type of creature that walked out from the sewers? Or if it's kind of like Belladonna that I showed you, that's kind of this old woman, so I'm gonna be very silent, like, oh, don't worry, dear, like, you don't have to worry, like, yeah, they blah blah blah, and more kind of just try to get the tone right rather than the actual voice. I feel like since I'm not capable, I'm not once again like a fucking voice actor like Matt Mercer or something. It's more simple like that. So that's kind of where I try to do it, and more when it's again I'm trying to have deeper dialogue, so the voice is kind of just like, well, it would be a plus to have it. It absolutely does not take away from the dialogue or the interaction at all. So that's kind of what I'm aiming for it. But yeah, so they're gonna have a little fun part here, and then getting to the village. This is the kind of village. Shout out to them. I didn't pay for it, but haha. Once again, if someone calls me, I'll gladly throw like $3 to buy the goddamn thing. But you know what I mean. Once again, I'm not monetizing this. This is kind of just me talking about. I'm not monetizing the campaign. So there you go. Yeah, just me talking about it. So this is the village. They're gonna arrive here on the coast, and then they go through it. They'll meet the mayor. I'll have a mayoral like township map. Mountain. What the hell did I just say? The mayor's like town hole. I can talk. Yeah, I should shove it up my hole, dude. The mayor's town hall map kind of thing, where they interact with them, talk what's going on. They'll explain like what's been happening around the town, how they're so scared and such, and they'll go to the inn to settle in, and then they'll explore, and then hopefully, depending, if there's a hard cut here, then there might be something that the player is like, oh, I wonder what he's to show off. Yeah, I wanted to. They'll show off this map. This one is once again from Bellagio, pretty cool. But it's gonna be like there's an imposed curfew on the city, so everyone's supposed to be inside, but a lot of the town's members find that kind of very overbearing and very shitty. So they're like, you know what? Let's go out to the deep part of the woods and let's still party, because I want to live my life and I don't believe all this spooky happenings. I feel like it's just scare tactic just to keep us inside. So yeah, it's much larger, but it's gonna be a small group. There's gonna be like some of the jazz band playing. They're gonna have some specific music. They're gonna interact with the band members, the singer, and stuff like that. I'm very excited for this part. This session is gonna be very heavy roleplay. Maybe I might have a little bit of combat at the very end, but if it's just very roleplay, I don't want to be like, oh yeah, then all of a sudden fucking ancient red dragon or ancient black dragon, whatever that one's called. I don't know. I messed up the dragon names, or whatever. But yeah, that's kind of where I plan to end the session there. kind of after this, maybe reveal something or two, maybe have show at the beginning of like the next day a horrible murder has taken place and they have to figure out what happened or like why or like what the who did it and like that kind of thing. I try to figure it out. So I'm trying to do that classic who done it, have a lot of like like a variety of characters type of thing trying to going on and see who they're trying to pin it on and try to figure out the case before they kill again type of thing. But yeah, I'm probably gonna end it there for now. Just a lot of me rambling. I'll probably have some rematch gameplay or like Nine Souls gameplay going in the background. Probably Nine Souls. That would probably be fun. Just that kind of gameplay happening in the background. Just a me yapping, and then whenever I'm referring to this fucking actual things, I'll flash back to them, and you see me cut and go here. That would be pretty fun. I think that would be a little edit, like actually a little bit edited, kind of nicely shown and not just kind of haphazardly put together. I feel like to actually put some engagement and me talking and hearing me just yap is not just me accidentally staring at this grid for like 20 minutes and like this is so visually pleasing, type of thing. But yeah, hopefully that kind of got you into kind of my mindset I am as a DM. I probably do this, probably like a, what would I call this, like I guess like a pre-thoughts before the first session of this new arc and the kind of my thoughts going into it. What would you call that? Like my initial thoughts maybe. And then like after the first session I might have like a debrief-esque kind of like video posted up that's like, hey, this is what happened the first session, and this is what they did, this was something I wasn't expecting, this something went really well, this is something I wish I did better, and something like that. So yeah, but I'll leave it there for now. Yeah, I hope you all doing good. Drink water, do something productive, take a walk. Love you all, and I'll talk to you later. See ya.